How do you know when you've gotten to the point where it's time to get an estate plan? Do you have to have a huge amount of money or a massive estate or millions of dollars or a huge amount of crypto? Or does everybody need an estate plan? My name is Michael Pevney, and I am an estate planning lawyer. I practice in California, and I create estate plans for families. You can follow me for more estate planning information, and you can ask a question in the comments section, and I will do my best to get back to you. So that's really the question here, right? Who needs an estate plan? Now, I pretty firmly believe that anybody that's over the age of 18 needs some sort of estate plan in place. Now, we're not necessarily talking anything super complicated. So let's say you have very few assets, but you're 18 years old, right? You are an adult and you can make decisions for yourself. In that case, you might want in place a couple of documents that are actually in force while you're alive. So here I'm talking about a power of attorney, so a financial power of attorney, and that is where you nominate somebody to make financial decisions for you when you're not able to. And usually this is as the result of some sort of an illness or an injury. Maybe you're laid up in the hospital, maybe you're in a coma, and you're not able to pay the bills. So ahead of time, you nominate somebody to make financial decisions for you. Likewise, you also nominate somebody to make healthcare decisions for you, and you make some sort of end-of-life decisions. In the state of California, where I practice, all of those decisions, the healthcare decisions, are all embodied in one document called an advance healthcare directive. And that includes within it basically whether or not you want to pull the plug, right? Do you want to prolong life? Do you want maybe heroic measures taken? Or do you want to not prolong life, right? Do you want essentially the plug pulled? And also along with that advanced healthcare directive comes with it the ability to nominate somebody to make healthcare decisions for you. And those are very important decisions, right? You don't necessarily want the person closest to you, whether that's a parent or a sibling, to do that. You might want somebody else. You might want a friend to do that, or a significant other that maybe you're not married to that would not otherwise ever have the legal right to make those decisions. Making those decisions are also going to make sure that a conservator is never appointed on your behalf, because you are essentially saying to a judge and saying to financial professionals and healthcare professionals who you want to make those decisions for you. And then at the very most base level, you would want a will. A will saying where you want your stuff to go when you pass away, and probably some final wishes and burial instructions. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? What do you want to happen to your body? What do you want to happen to your remains? And once you start maybe having kids, getting some more assets, maybe getting some retirement accounts, that sort of thing, that's when we want to start thinking about more than just a will and these powers of attorneys. That's when we might want to think about having a trust. And a trust is basically a much more detailed will that gives you a lot more control over what happens to your property after you've passed away. And one huge advantage of a trust over a will is that it avoids probate. Probate being the sort of government-controlled asset distribution process. This whole set of court hearings, it takes a very long time in California, and in California it's really expensive. And for anybody that has kids, kids under a certain age, about 30 or 35 or so, or who owns any sort of property, I think it's probably time to get a trust for the large majority of people. So you buy that first home, probably time to get a trust, at least that's what I recommend for pretty much all of my clients in California. Also, if you want to control how things are distributed, if you've got little kids and you want to make sure they don't end up spending money in an irresponsible way, then it's probably time to go with a trust. So I do think that everybody that's an adult does need some sort of an estate plan. And at a most basic level, it starts with those documents, right? The advanced healthcare directive, the financial power of attorney, and a very simple will. And then once things get a little bit more advanced, a little bit more complicated, maybe you own some real estate, maybe you've gotten married, maybe you have kids. At that point, it's probably time to start thinking about getting a trust. The type of trust that I create for most of my clients is called a revocable living trust. And once you hit those milestones in life, it's probably time to start thinking about doing one of those things. So please go ahead and follow me for more estate planning information. If you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning, you can go ahead and ask them in the comment section. I'm pretty good about responding. And you can set up a time to meet with me for free by following the link in the comments and going to ocestateplanlawyer.com.